freeze-everything moment. At 12:58 p.m., a panicked call reached Italian emergency services. A young British student, Meredith Kercher, had been found on the floor of her locked bedroom, her room torn apart, her throat cut, her life stolen in a moment no one could explain. No signs of forced entry, conflicting stories, and 3 students whose lives would never be the same. What happened that night inside the small yellow house on Via della Pergola? 2. Channel signature line, 030 to 040. You're watching all time-creepy true crime stories, where every truth has a shadow, and every shadow has something to say. 3. Cold case snapshot. The stakes clean, fast, chilling. Meredith Kercher was a 21-year-old British exchange student studying in Perugia, Italy. Bright, kind, brilliant, the kind of person friends described as sunlight with a backpack. On November 2, 2007, she was found murdered in the home she shared with other students. Italy was stunned, Britain was shaken, and soon, the world would be watching. The case quickly transformed into an international storm, fueled by tabloid obsession, cultural misunderstandings, controversial investigative decisions, and a courtroom saga unlike anything Italy had seen in years. For setting the scene, the world before the crime. Perugia was a postcard city, medieval stone, quiet lanes, espresso bars with fogged windows, a sanctuary for students from across the world. Meredith lived in a hillside cottage with 3 roommates. Downstairs lived a group of young men, including Rudy Gide, a drifter known around town. Upstairs, the flat was usually peaceful. Shared meals, schoolwork, nights out. Also in Perugia was Amanda Knox, a 20-year-old American student, newly arrived and adjusting to Italian life. She and Meredith were still learning one another, still finding harmony in their shared space. That Halloween week, Perugia was alive. Parties, crowds, late-night events. But no one could know that within 48 hours, this small student neighborhood would become the center of a global mystery. 5. Timeline of the crime. Scene-by-scene breakdown, eyewitnesses, surveillance, contradictions. November 1st, 2007 evening. Meredith had dinner with friends. She walked home alone around 9 p.m. Neighbors later reported hearing a scream. Sudden, sharp, cut short. Others heard what sounded like running feet, then silence. The next morning, Amanda Knox and her boyfriend, Rafael Salcido, said they returned to the cottage and noticed the front door slightly open. In the bathroom, drops of blood in the sink. On the floor, a footprint. A window in another room, shattered. Knox tried calling Meredith. No answer. A locked bedroom door and a growing sense of dread. When the police arrived, they forced it open. The room was chaos. Overturned furniture, bloodstains, Meredith on the floor, covered by a duvet. An unmistakable sign of violence, and of someone attempting to hide it. Italy had a murder on its hands. 6. The hidden truth. Motive, secrets, relationships, media storm, contradictions. Police looked first at the people closest to Meredith. Early investigative theories suggested a possible altercation, personal tensions, or a break-in gone wrong. But the scene didn't fit neatly into any one explanation. The media, however, filled in the blanks, sometimes recklessly. Italian tabloids turned the case into spectacle. Small details were exaggerated into motives. Whispers became headlines, and headlines became pressure. Phone records, text messages, and shifting statements under stress made everything worse. What investigators saw as contradictions, defense teams saw as fear and confusion. What tabloids framed as secrets, courts later declared misinterpretations. In this fog, another figure emerged, Rudy Gide. He had been seen around the house before. His DNA was found on Meredith and in her room. But why? How? And was he alone? Italy demanded answers. 7. The investigation, the digital, forensic, and technological breakthroughs. Technology played a massive role. DNA analysis, traces of Gide found on Meredith's body and belongings. Footprint analysis. Prosecutors argued matches. Defense challenged them. Cell phone pings mapping who was where. Computer records contradicting certain timelines. Forensic botches. Contaminated evidence later overturned in court. Interrogation recordings, some incomplete or disputed. Independent reviews revealing handling errors in key exhibits. Gide was arrested in Germany after fleeing Italy. He claimed he was present during the murder, but said another man committed it. Courts did not believe his story. He was convicted. For Knox and Salicito, the road was far more turbulent. Conviction, appeal, acquittal, reinstated conviction, final acquittal by the highest court. The final ruling? Critical evidence was unreliable. The investigation was flawed. No proof linked them to the crime. Only one person remained convicted, Rudy Gide. 8. The climax. The truth revealed the emotional blow. In the end, the highest Italian court concluded the break-in was real. Gide acted alone. No evidence placed Knox or Salicito in the room during the murder. Meredith's family sat through years of trials, hearings, appeals, forced to relive their grief every time the case resurfaced. Their daughter, who had come to Italy to study and explore the world, became known globally only through tragedy. And even after final rulings, the world continued to debate the case. But behind every headline was the one thing that mattered most. A young woman lost her life. Her story deserved truth, not spectacle. 9. Aftermath. Rudy Gide served the majority of his sentence and was released early. Amanda Knox and Rafael Salicito were fully exonerated. Knox continues to advocate for wrongful conviction reform. Salicito rebuilt his life, speaking occasionally about the ordeal. And the Kercher family continues to honor Meredith's memory, quietly with dignity, seeking peace in a world that often refuses to let the story rest. 10. Closing message. A cinematic, haunting line. In the end, truth didn't come from rumors or headlines, but from the silence of a small room in Perugia, and the life of a young woman who should have walked back out of it. 11. End card CTA. If you want more cases where truth fights its way through the shadows, subscribe. Our next story begins where this one ends.